It was even a trip for me to go back 7 years and think about what we did right and what we did wrong. So first and foremost, I'm the editor-in-chief of Krautreporter and one of the co-founders. If you have any questions after the talk or like in a couple of days, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. I'm more than happy to talk about what we learned and about the mistakes you could avoid, the mistakes we made. So Krautreporter is an online magazine. We only publish 5 articles a week, so that's 20 articles a month. We are membership based. We don't have any advertisements. And how this came, and we have 16,000 members right now. How we reach this point is the topic of my talk and my presentation today. And just to give you a quick overview how it started and how it's going. Oh, sorry. So the picture on the left is what people saw when they visited Krautreporter.de in June 2014. That's when our crowdfunding started, and the picture on the right is what they see when they visit Krautreporter.de today. So in 2014, we started out with a very diverse group of reporters. We were 25 or 30 people, and most of them freelancers. We were all, in a sense, independent journalists that didn't want to work or didn't work in legacy media. So we banded together to pitch the idea, to pitch the public one idea that, and in 2014, that was, especially in Germany, a novel thing, that very good high quality journalism can be work online only, so that you don't need to subsidize it via print or any other, or via e-commerce portals or whatever. 2014, if you remember it, that was the time of massive clickbait on Facebook. I don't know, like you wouldn't believe what happens next, headlines. So, and the high quality journalism that got produced was not put online by many media organizations, especially not in Germany. So when we pitched this idea to the public, they were very enthusiastic about it. We got mentions in all the big media organizations in Germany. Everybody looked how the crowdfunding was going. It was a real roller coaster ride, but we made it in the end. And still to date, it's Germany's biggest crowdfunding. We got 1 million euros and 17,500 supporters. So sounds good, sounds nice. Everything should have been going according to plan after that, but that's not what happened. Because 1 year later, we only had 5 supporters, we had no supporters, and people were asking on Twitter if we still exist. So we were at a real low point, because we made a couple of mistakes. And these mistakes were crucial. The first one, and that's the most crucial one, was that our vision of what Krautreporter should be was not aligned with the perception of what it should be. So people were giving us money for something that we didn't want to do in the first place. So we thought we're gonna create a platform for independent journalists to get money for their journalism. So think Substack, think Patreon, think Steady, but only 5 or 3 years earlier before any of these platforms got established. But what the audience actually wanted was a magazine. They wanted to get, so they brought their traditional, more traditional perceptions of what a media platform should look like, and were a little bit disappointed when we launched. So, and we had some internal struggles as well. And so the vision was not even clear to the people who started the whole project. So that was partly due because we had to be fast, and there was a window of opportunity that we needed to use. Otherwise, the whole thing might have not happened. So it was the most crucial mistake we made. We didn't have a clear vision. We didn't communicate it well, and we didn't even agree on the vision within the team. So the second one is one thing that many journalists especially overlook quite often. It's we had no marketing and no product people. And this was, especially the marketing people are very important. This is something probably every one of you knows, it's very, very hard to generate leads, to get new members, to get new subscriptions, whatever. And we completely underestimated how hard it is. And the third thing is, it's a detail actually, but it made all the difference. We didn't crowdfund memberships. So we didn't crowdfund ongoing payments year after year. No, we crowdfunded a one-time payment. And this was what almost drove us into ruin, to be honest. Because in a sense, you can count on the laziness of people to stick with you, even though they might not read you. But then this is not what happened. But then again, maybe that was an advantage as well. Why? I will come back to this point later, but why it was an advantage. So what did we do in response? First of all, we consolidated the newsroom. So after many left voluntarily of the initial group that started Krautreporter, some of them, actually all of them, left more or less voluntarily, but then the budget was shrinking anyway, so there wasn't too much money to be made anymore. And we put the resources we had into hiring more permanent staff, so people who would be still freelancers in a sense, but who would dedicate a huge chunk of their time to Krautreporter. And then we did another crowdfunding campaign in disguise, because we didn't label it as that, but we asked our readers, people who were reading us regularly, to become members, to subscribe, to pay regularly for Krautreporter, and not only once in their lifetime. And this was in summer 2015, and we did a lot of we put a lot of work into it, but we only got 4,200 members or something like this, 4,500. So in fact, we didn't only half our membership base or our supporter base. We actually went down to 1/3 of it, or even less, 80%. But one thing that we did in response that was most important is that we sat together as a team and really very ruthlessly developed a new vision for what Krautreporter should be, because there was stuff already that was working, and we saw it, and people were engaged, and some people loved us, and we used that to generate a new framework. So that was a very intense time. It was very chaotic because we had to produce journalism on the side as well. So we started a process of establishing a cooperative. Cooperative in Germany means that it's like in fact, it's like a company on the stock market. Everyone can buy shares, but each owner only has one vote. So it's not possible to buy the organization and to buy influence in the organization. That's a model perfectly suited for journalism, in a sense. The second thing what we did is we radically transformed our whole thinking. So we asked, what do our reporters need to produce high quality journalism, and what do our members need? So these were, in a sense, the only two questions that were relevant for us. We completely shut down what happened on Twitter and in the media world at large. So we focused on building the product. And then we established, out of experience and out of analyzing what worked for us, 3 principles that we use to date to guide us in our editorial decisions. The first one is engage. The second one is explain. And the third one is personalize. So if we commission a new story, these are the 3 principles we use to see if this is a Krautreporter story or not. In the summer of 2015, these principles were not, we were not aware of these principles. We were doing them, we were using them already, but we were not aware of them. So, and this was the first time that we actually put them into writing and made it into a conscious act to use them. And the fourth thing was also a technical thing, but very, very important, was we introduced the paywall. And just alone introducing this paywall I was on vacation at that time, and I came back. I looked into our new members channel where all the new memberships roll in, and was happy for the rest of the day, because I think within 1 month we had the growth of half a year compressed into 1 month. So a little bit more color on that is how did we do it in detail? The first thing is we went into a 2-day retreat to clear the air. And it was really, everybody sat down, had a piece of paper written where everything was written down what we should do, what he was angry, what he didn't like, the feelings, everything. It was a very convoluted process, but that was very important. It was in a sense the second founding meeting, or the second meeting where Krautreporter got established. And then we started to build the newsroom inside out. So usually you start with a product, and then you find a team to execute on it. But we did it the other way around, because what we noticed is, while talking to our members, is if you want to do trust-based journalism, what membership-based journalism in essence is, then it needs to be about the people producing it. So because people like to talk to other people, in the internet, they rather trust other people than brand names, in a sense. So what else did we do? Of the 4,200 or 4,500 members and people that stayed with us after the first year, we engaged them. We asked them, why did you stay with us? What made you pay again, even though you didn't need to, and even though our start was a little bit, well, how to put it, complicated? And what they told us was very valuable. And a lot of the stuff that they tell us is something that we still discuss up 7 years later. For example, they didn't say, because I like the idea of Krautreporter. No, they said, because I like the articles by this and this reporter. This was the moment where we realized that our reporters are very, very important. Or then they pointed out the specific type of article which they liked, and we realized that we were the only ones doing this specific type of article, and so on and so on. And after that, on an even more detailed thing, is we introduced only one KPI. And I think, let's put it this way, at this time it was novel to have KPIs in a journalism organization. Like, to have them at all was something novel in Germany, let's put it this way. So we had one KPI, and that was new members. Everything else didn't matter. We wanted to have new members, and we were very focused on only that KPI. And a second thing that was very important is we shared these KPIs, these numbers, with everyone. So in the beginning, everyone could see how much money Krautreporter had, how much we were making. We could see, broken down on the article level, how many members did this article generate, how many people read it on Facebook, and so on and so on and so on. And this gave us a very good sense on what worked and what didn't work. And that was an advantage. And we just stopped doing what didn't work. In a sense, we had to stop doing what didn't work, because we were so small. We didn't have a lot of resources. We couldn't afford to waste any of the time or money or work time we have. So in a sense, it was not the worst thing that could have happened to us to lose 70% of our members or of our first-time supporters, because it gave us a second chance, and to actually start building a product, start building a magazine that people want to read and that people understand, let's put it this way. And that was actually the most fun part of the whole process, is that if people think you're dead, you can do whatever you like. We had like the craziest ideas, the craziest topics, whatever, just do it. Because once you had this near-death experience, you realize that not everything is as important as you think it is, and if this becomes a working principle of yours, then you can start to experiment, and you can start to do stuff that is outside of the box. And this is how actually we found out that the one thing that connects everything and what Krautreporter does is that we are very good at doing deep background journalism. We are very good at explaining things. We are very good at looking okay, there's a huge debate going on in Germany right now. One side is saying this, another side is saying this, and we actually stand right in the middle and show that both sides are right, and so on and so on. So, and this is what our claim became. You can find it everywhere on the homepage. Is verstehe die Zusammenhänge, understand the connections. So that is a very clear pitch. We help our readers, our members, to understand what's happening in the world and how everything is connected to everything. This is one example. This the most successful article in the history of Krautreporter, measured by KPI new members. It's the conflict in the Middle East and Israel and Palestine explained. Very basic. It's and people wrote us, thank you for this article. You helped my daughter. My daughter used it for her school exams, and she did very well. Just 2 or 3 months ago, this article, it's 5 years old, came back again via Google and brought us new members in, and stuff like this. This is what other media organizations at that time didn't do, and so it gave us an edge. So people were only getting push notifications on their phone, something happening in the Middle East, but they didn't really understand what was happening there because nobody bothered to give them the basics of this conflict. And actually, if you would read this article, it starts with the basics. What is Israel? What is Palestine? What is all this about? And as you can see here, this is our journey. The numbers in the beginning, 2017 and 18, they are not correct because we churned out members, like we changed the system. Starting with 2018, the numbers are correct. And if you can see at the end of 2020, end of last year, we had a small, we stopped growing, let's put it this way. And what we did is, because we learned that if you talk to our members, they help us. So what we did do is we started a campaign and asked them, help us. We need to get more members. And this worked very, very well. We used our email, we used our newsletters to engage them mainly. And we got 1,500 new members. And you can see the bump in the growth curve. Yes. And now it's 2021. And in a sense, we have to do everything again because we're realizing that a lot of the stuff that worked for us very, very well is not working anymore due to a lot of reasons. One of the main reasons is that other media organizations have bright people working for them, realizing what is happening and doing the same stuff as we are. And we are a small media organization. We cannot compete on reach. We cannot compete on money or marketing or ad spend or something like that. So we need to reinvent ourselves. And if you would ask me what Krautreporter looks like in 5 years, it might be more similar to the original vision of 2014, more like a platform, less like a magazine. But let's see how this is turning out and playing out. Thank you. And I'm sorry again for being late.